Welcome everyone to our fireside chat, Building Trusted Bridges for Critical Services in Underserved Communities, the case of HerVest Nigeria. My name is Niranthi Nanayakara, and I work as part of Action Advisory, supporting the delivery of inclusive financial services and related initiatives to underserved segments in Africa. In this session, we meet with HerVest, one of the few women-focused agritechs in Africa, providing digital financial services to marginalized smallholder female farmers who are considered harder to reach and harder to serve, by essentially enabling them to access and participate in the digital economy. Since its inception in 2021, HerVest has provided agricultural input financing to female farmers and to date has served over 40,000 customers. In 2023 alone, HerVest disbursed 215 million naira to member farmers. These input loans are repaid after sales to large off-takers, which is a service that is also structured and provided to smallholder farmers by HerVest. Our discussion today will explore essentially how HerVest has built these trusted bridges and other consumer-centric mechanisms as a critical path for the design of financial services for hard-to-serve segments. I'm very thrilled to welcome Yomi Ogunleye, who serves as Chief Technology Officer and co-founder at HerVest. And I'll turn it over to him now to give us a bit of his background, intro on his journey at HerVest, and essentially why he joined to build a gender-focused financial services and the problem that they are solving at HerVest. Welcome, Yomi.
Thank you, Nirati, and thanks for the brief intro as well. As you've mentioned, my name is Yomi Ogunleye, and I'm actually the CTO and co-founder at HerVest. And as you mentioned as well, HerVest is an inclusive fintech, and our main focus is to provide access to financial services, especially savings, investments, and credit to underserved women and unbanked women in the rural areas. Our focus has always been on female farmers, and most recently, we also expanded that focus to women-led micro and small and medium enterprises. So I'm glad to be here. And I started this journey at HerVest about 4 years ago in August, when we first launched the product on the 3rd of August of 2020, just a bit after COVID. And as at that time, our goal was to ensure that we give some sort of like input financing to smallholder female farmers in rural area Nigeria. So we started off in the southwest of Nigeria and we moved on to the north central region of Nigeria. And in 2021, we officially registered the company. And ever since then, we've hit a lot of milestones. Right now, we have well over 50,000 users on our platform. So we have our mobile app available both in Android and iOS, and we have over 50,000 people providing access to loans to the smallholder female farmers and women-led businesses. So you mentioned something about why women. Why are we focused on women? Well, there's a financial gender gap problem in Africa as a whole. And in our own little way, we want to see how we can break that barrier, starting from here in Nigeria and expanding across Africa. We realize that traditionally, the man is the head of the family, and there's a lot of burden on the man to provide access to finances to his family. By empowering women, by giving women control of their finances, they will be able to contribute in that as well and reduce the burden on men. And not just the men, this would also help the economy because women are known to be very good with managing funds. And we've also realized that giving out loans to women, a lot of them repay on time. Our NPL so far has been quite low, based on the fact that a lot of these women we provide input financing to, which are the farmers, as well as the women-led businesses that we provide actually cash. They pay back on time. So that's the major reason why we're actually focused on women, so that we can reach a lot of the women that wouldn't have access to loans when they go to banks, especially some women that are not literate. A lot of them are asked to provide some sort of guarantor or bring some sort of collateral, and most of these women don't have it. So it's basically going to those hard-to-reach places to ensure that these women are financially free. Thank you.
Thank you so much for this background. I mean, it paints a perfect picture. Would just like you to share a little bit more on your role as CTO. How do you structure the team to connect the dots? So across defining the customer value proposition to incorporating some feedback from these women that you are designing for, and of course, behavioral insights and everything else into the product design, and then the process to rolling out and putting the product in the hand of the customer.
That's actually a very great question. As I'm the technical co-founder, my job is to actually provide solutions. And at HerVest, well, we're trying to actually solve two major problems. We've basically splitted our customer group into two parts, the demand side and the supply side. So the demand side, as we call it, is basically the women that need access to finances, that need access to funds. So these are the smallholder women farmers, these are the women-led MSMEs. So we're talking about a market woman, a woman in the corner shop, a woman that is a tailor, a woman that is a hairdresser. They need access to money to actually run their business. So what we basically do is for the women that don't have access to finances are in the rural areas, we actually give them access to a low-tech platform, which is the USSD. Via the USSD platform, they don't need access to internet, so they can basically dial a short code, which is available here in Nigeria for now, *7213 hash, and they'll get access to farming best practices if you're a farmer. You get access to some sort of financial literacy materials, as well as get access to how they can go about applying for a loan with us. Now, for the supply side, which are women like yourself, Mirati, these are basically women that are basically upwardly mobile, more or less. They live in urban areas that have stable jobs. We give them access to our mobile app. And on our mobile app, we give you access to save, we give you access to invest. Now, the investing part of it is impact investment, which is more or less like P2P. The money you invest via our app is what we actually give to the female farmers to actually farm. Obviously, we would also need to add some money from institutional investors or institutions like banks that can maybe allow us to disburse huge amounts of loans. But it's actually moves the needle a lot because a lot of the contributions from these women app, as well as allies like men like myself, go a long way in helping these women have access to finances. So basically the way we build our products, we actually ensure that we get constant feedback from our customers, from the women basically. So what we do is we basically do A/B testing. A/B testing will basically make us know, okay, if there's a new feature we need to deploy on the USSD side of things or our mobile app, just to improve user experience and to ensure that this women that actually use our mobile app coming back to actually give back to the community so that the women in the rural areas can have access to finances. And as well as for the USSD platform, we're constantly making changes, we're building it. And with the advent of AI right now, we're trying to see how we can incorporate AI. So by next year, hopefully, we would have a lot of robo-advisory in different languages in Nigeria, just to ensure that even if you don't know how to speak English, it will be translated to the 3 major languages here in Nigeria. So those are just a few of how we go about onboarding our customers as well as testing our products.
Very innovative, I think. But now that you speak about the USSD platform, would like to go a little bit deeper into that, just around the structural changes, the challenges that you see across board. So with reaching and then also seeing that adoption for digital financial services. How are you seeing that? How are you handling it? How does the team work around? Now you're speaking about AI. Considering these are smallholder female farmers located in very hard to reach areas.
Yeah, so the whole point of inclusive finance is actually financial freedom. So our hope is that because we don't just give them access to money, because there's one thing to have access to money and there's another thing to have the ability to manage the money that you have access to. So for example, For the female farmers, we do in-field financing so that they don't have cash where they just spend all the money and they don't use it to actually farm on the land. Now, with USSD is not like a complete solution. It just basically helps us break into those hard to reach places. Our plan is if the female farmers actually use our platform and they use it to the extent where, okay, they get loans, they actually improve their finances, their financial literacy improves, they might be able to afford smartphones as well. And that way, they don't need to rely so much on USSD. And obviously it will improve their quality of life. So after a while, they might not necessarily always use USSD to get access to a lot of the services we offer. So our hope is that all the services that we're offering to the female farmers would improve their lives, which would also in turn make them afford, better devices that can access a lot of our services. We are looking at even going beyond just offering financial services. There's some non-financial services we also want to offer, but maybe I can talk about a little bit of that later. So that's basically how we're going about it now. Yeah.
I think definitely would love to hear more about these non-financial services. I think a key thing that you've also alluded to is just being able to work closely with these women, building the trust that you need to gain adoption and to see the behavioral change. So I do get the feeling that customer trust means a lot to HerVest. It serves as a key enabler for adoption. So how does the team build that into the everyday, what they do, covering products and channels, of course?
Yes. So the major T word there, trust is a very big thing when it comes to finances. And one of our watchwords here in HerVest, both internally and to our customers, is transparency. So in terms of giving out loans to farmers or women-led businesses, we're very transparent about fees and our charges. We obviously know that there are loads of loan sharks out there that might maybe want to, dupe these women and get as much money from them. But right from the get-go, as I mentioned, we don't just give you money, we also show you how you manage the money, because that's also very key. So what we do in everything we do, as I mentioned earlier, is we have a feedback loop from our customers just to ensure that whatever we're rolling out to them, it is what they would actually use. We don't just work in a silo or work in isolation, just building things that might not be useful to the customer, because at the end of the day, we want them to be financially free. In terms of trust as well, our customers trust us because customer support is actually one thing that we actually hold highly. So for example, if you have any issues, this is both from the female farmers or the users that actually use our mobile apps. There's always someone in the customer support team to support you, to ensure that they walk you through the process, whether you're having issues with onboarding or you're having issues with depositing funds or withdrawing funds. We make sure that we open all our channels digitally on social media, on our websites, on our mobile apps, just to ensure that we give our customers the best support. Then the last thing I'll mention will be data protection. Data protection is also very key for us. As I mentioned, we have well over 50,000 users, and this is both the users on our platform, on the mobile app, as well as the farmers. And we collect a lot of data. So we have the NDPR audit certified, basically saying that we ensure that all our data is protected, all the data protection practices are done properly, and all the data of our customers are handled properly in case of a breach or some sort of hack. Thank you.
I think this is so great. Now that you talk about data protection, this is a case study. So let's look at the activities and capabilities that you've identified as a critical route to success. What is the team, structured like today? How are you leveraging that team to address the needs that you have identified?
Yeah, so The current team structure here, HerVest, is where I would have to say that we're a lean team, but we basically do our best to serve all our 50,000 customers. So the current structure that we have in place is so for the employees that basically build the products and all of that, that's products and engineering. We have a product manager. So obviously the product manager's role is to ensure that they get the necessary feedback from the customers and we implement the feedback, or basically have a roadmap of feedback implementation and feature implementation, and trying to balance that with whatever the management schools are, more or less. And we have our engineers, so our engineers work on all our mobile apps or web apps, be it the loans, the savings, the investment, as well as the USSD implementation too. So we have a marketing and comms teams, and their major role is to basically preach the gospel of HerVest and see how we can, get more women to be on board on our platform, especially the women in the hard to reach places. So we go through traditional media. We also go through digital media via different ads on different popular social networking websites too. Then we have a quality assurance team as well, and customer support team. So, and their job is to basically test out all the features that we work on before we roll it out. And customer support is more both proactive and reactive in a way. Proactive in the sense that reach out to customers that not been using our platform for too long, and reactive to ensure that, okay, whenever there's an issue, there's a very short turnaround time to resolve the issues. Thank you.
Great. Thank you for spotlighting the fact that, HerVest is a very early stage startup, but look at how much work you're doing in this space. I know that, this might be done with the help of partnerships, both local and international as well. So would you like to share with us a couple that you've been able to leverage as well on this journey?
Yeah, so we've thrived on partnerships for the past 4 years. In the early stage when we started, just a year into launching the products and all of that, we've gotten grants from USAID. We got a COVID grant from USAID that really helped a lot. That helped in building the team, developing the products, and all of that. Action has also supported us very well. Earlier this year, we did a lot of trainings for smallholder female farmers in the north central region of Nigeria. They've been very supportive, both in terms of resources, to help us train these farmers, as well as financially too. We've also partnered with a few startups locally here in Nigeria. So recently we partnered with QShop, an e-commerce platform, to basically help business owners, especially women-led businesses, to gain access to loans so that they can basically support their business. And we've also had strategic partnerships in the government. As much as a lot is happening in the country, the government is also very supportive. So, for example, the Kwara State government has been very supportive here in Nigeria, and they've really helped us reach a lot of smallholder female farmers in Kwara State and the north central region of Nigeria. And we're actually looking to do a lot of cluster marketing. So we've been doing a lot of reaching out to micro-influencers, a lot of them on Twitter and Facebook, that basically have huge customer bases, that run businesses and business communities that are women-led as well, so that we can basically extend our services to them.
Very well. I do see, the plans to scale, and it's very great that, partnerships are coming in at this early stage to support that entire effort. I feel like we can speak about this for the whole day, but in order for us to wrap up, we'd like to touch a little bit on the non-financial services you mentioned earlier. So I know that this serves as a key enabler for adoption. What does HerVest offer customers? How effective are these non-financial services in, serving as an additional value proposition to the customers to aid adoption, retention, utilization across board?
Yeah, so as mentioned earlier, major non-financial services that we actually offer to our customers in HerVest is financial literacy. So we obviously don't give them financial advice, but what we do is we basically toe the path for them to, to be financially free by giving them advice on how they can better manage their money. So it's to be based on what we've given to them, then they can now use that to make better decisions, more or less. We also do a lot of capacity building in terms of seminars and conferences. So for example, we did our first conference called Value Up in Nigeria, and well over 800 women attended the event. It was very successful. And we also try to do a lot of agri-business seminars. So we run one currently once a month, and it's basically to enlighten people on farming best practices, things on regenerative agriculture. A lot of us just see the end product of agriculture, but we don't know the whole process it takes, to get the food on the table, more or less. So we do a lot by enlightening a lot of people in the urban areas on what people in the rural areas, especially smallholder female farmers, face when it comes to farming and all of that. So that's more or less like enlightenment. So in the future, we're looking to extend on more non-financial services by partnering with other startup organizations that can help us foster that.
So yes, you're already speaking to, the future. So in the little time left, we'd just like to discuss the future of financial inclusion. What does that look like for women in Nigeria? How does HerVest plan to continue to stay ahead of this curve while putting the customer first in the design process, ensuring that whatever product is put out actually really and truly meets the needs of the customer?
So basically, the way we look at the future here at HerVest is we want a future where there's financial equity, more or less. It's traditionally known, even not just here in Africa or Nigeria, globally, men have the highest spending power. But the thing is, women actually also have money, but sometimes taking the risk is always a problem, or they don't even know that they can actually invest their funds in some of these opportunities out there. So our goal is to expand our services. This buzzword is used all the time, but we want to be the one-stop financial services for women in Nigeria and across Africa as well. And we want to offer other services like pensions, insurance. You can basically, right now on our platform, what we basically offer is savings, investment, and credits, and you can also pay for your utilities. But we want to expand that to other services that basically when you onboard as a customer on HerVest, you can basically get access to that. So we also want to partner with more government organizations as well as NGOs to empower women. As I mentioned, Value Up is actually one of the ways that we basically preach the gospel of HerVest so that people know what we're doing, because a lot of times people see the name and they're like, oh, we're not sure what we're about. So we're looking to really scale up and expanding that. And obviously, including adding more to the financial services that we want to expand to. So things like mutual funds, real estate, and all of that. We also want to offer these women that as well, to let them know that they can basically achieve their goals as long as they set their mind to it. And we want to be their financial partner to basically achieve all their goals. Thank you.
I think that's an amazing vision. And we'd just like to say thank you so much for joining. Thank you to everyone watching. I want to encourage each and every one of you to actually look out for HerVest, reach out to Yomi Sholakpe to learn more about the support, how you can support and the incredible work that you're doing. Key things around their services, the partnerships that you're trying to kickstart to scale the service of providing financial services to women in Nigeria, and then, of course, further down the line to other countries in Africa. So thank you again, Yomi, for joining. Really enjoyed chatting with you, and we look forward to seeing more of the work that HerVest will continue to do.